Hi, welcome to Mind Unfiltered. Today's topic is a bit random, but I feel like it's something that could do with being talked about because when I decided to go on the Depo injection, I wasn't really able to source much information, like other than like the good things, but I couldn't find much information about the side effects and how it feels when you come off it. Um, so I wanted to kind of give my personal experience. It might be different for everybody, but I do wish that there was more information about it to have made me make a better decision for my body. It was promoted to me as like one of the best ones and most effective, and only having to remember it every 3 months made it a little bit easier for me in that sense. But the reason I want to discuss it is just because some things really changed within my body when I was on it, and also when I came off it. I was not very well. So let's get into it. Let's just get right into it. So firstly, what I want to talk about is the mood that it put me in. I was feeling very emotionless and unable to feel sad about things that I should have been feeling sad about. And that was really strange to me. You know, I feel like I had acknowledged that it was something that was sad, but for some reason I was just stone cold and I couldn't find the correct emotions for things, and it was just really strange because typically I'm a very emotional person, so it's very strange if I'm not reacting. And secondly, the ironic thing was the fact that I had absolutely no desire to have intercourse. None. And so I kept saying to myself, well, I may as well just not have it then. As in, just not have any intercourse, because I feel like I can't have it anyway, because also, probably a bit too much information, but it dries things up. It affects the levels of pH, and so it really hurts. It becomes very swollen, which also adds to the no desire to want to have anything. So there was that. I will say the one good and weird thing that came from it was the fact that I was able to focus a lot more on day-to-day life. It kind of, I was able to get home from work and do a load of cleaning and get on with washing up and, just get on with things, have a good routine. That was one thing. And when I looked that up to find out if there was any sort of correlation between hormonal injections and ADHD, I did find that due to female hormones being quite erratic sometimes, they can heavily influence how intense ADHD is. So it kind of like, yeah, it just can make things feel a lot worse and a lot more intense. So I think what happened was it may have balanced out some of my hormones in a way. I don't know. I don't know what happened, but either way, it done something where I was able to focus. So that is one positive. But that is the only positive I think I can find at the moment. I can't really think of anything else right now. But anyway, let's move on. So, coming off of it was so strange. So, I mean, it technically takes, obviously, the last one I had was the January. And so that would have meant my next one would have been around April time. Yeah, well, April, May time. And May time, when it was starting to exit my body, all I can say is, not that I have experienced this firsthand, but I've seen it. It felt like, or it looked like, I was coming off of a class A drug. I was getting dizzy, shaking, sweats. I couldn't sleep very well. I remember one day, I think I'd got back from work or something. I can't quite remember exactly what it was I was doing. But I was just walking through town, my local town, and I just felt like I was going to collapse. It was so strange. I genuinely thought, for some reason, I felt like it was something to do with my blood sugars or something, which I don't normally have an issue with. But for some reason, I just thought it was that. And so I actually booked a consultation to get my bloods taken in case I was like in the early stages of diabetes or something. Like, that is just how it felt. Like, it just felt like I was just lost all energy. And luckily I was right outside Costa, and I knew one of the ladies that worked there, and she noticed and came and got me and was like, right, you need something to drink, just come and sit down, maybe try and contact a doctor or something, which is obviously what led me to then think, well, maybe it's like a diabetic thing. I don't know why, because to be honest with you, it kind of left my mind, because I hadn't had the injection since January. It had left my mind that could be what's causing all of this. So I was instantly going into hypochondriac mode, thinking that there's something severely wrong with me. Also, I want to point out as well, I've had like an ongoing pain in my pelvic area as well, ever since as well, which has not ever been there before. Some days it's more intense than others. But yeah, so that's a strange thing. But yeah, so anyway, so I suddenly started thinking, like, what is wrong with me? My bloods are coming back fine. You know, my vitamin levels are fine. What is it? And it wasn't until I read somewhere about how the Depo can affect your bone marrow or bone, what is it, your bone? 1 minute, I do actually have these things up here. Your bone density. Okay, so it can affect your bone density. And I don't know, did I read that up? No, I feel like someone told me about it. Anyway, that sparked like a curiosity of like trying to dig deep and to find out, like, what else is this injection capable of, you know? And so I obviously found out that because it changes your hormones, I'm assuming that the way I was feeling was because hormones were readjusting again. And maybe it was in a negative way. I don't know. Like, it felt negative. It didn't feel good. And I just ended up putting all the pieces together and was like, okay, I think it's because of this. I just need to ride this out. Bearing in mind, my periods hadn't even started coming back at this point, because it can actually take up to about a year for periods to start to return. I would say mine started returning 10 months afterwards, so it would have been the October. The first one wasn't so bad because it was, I guess, like, I don't know, my body was just, it was kind of like a spotting thing. It wasn't a heavy thing. But by January, my periods were so heavy. So the next year, sorry. So this is like the year after. So by the next January, my periods were so heavy, and the pain as well. Like, I have never had period pains. I used to get like a little bit of a backache as an, like, it used to be like my indication that, oh, it's time. But this was different. Like, it was cramping. And I'd be walking around. Like, it felt like, do you know what? It felt nearly as similar to the recovery of a C-section. That's how much pain I was in. Like, it just felt like so heavy and horrible. And the period itself was just, I've never experienced that. So yeah, I was a little bit like, I don't know if I like this. I feel like things have changed in my body, and I suppose, like, I guess after a certain amount of time, it might have readjusted itself. But bear in mind, I waited until around May of this year to decide whether I should go on the pill again. I was a bit like suspicious of whether I should do that, because I actually ended up falling pregnant when I was on the pill. So I think I was a bit skeptical of, like, oh my God, this might happen again. But I do believe it was because I'd eaten something dodgy that time. And so the pill hadn't actually worked correctly, which is something you should read in the small print of your, the bit of paper that you get in your box, because I didn't know that. I didn't know that it would be ineffective if you get a little bit of an icky belly. Anyway, doesn't matter though. I've got an amazing bundle of joy with me now, so it's worth it. Hang on. Oh, I do love my hibiscus tea. So good. Where was I? I've lost it now. Okay, so May, I decided to go on the pill. Due to my migraines and my flashy light thing that I get, I wasn't able to go on the combination pill, which I was kind of sad about, because I think the combination pill also has a way of helping with ADHD symptoms, because of helping with estrogen, and can't remember what the other hormone is, but there's another hormone in there, and it helped, like, balances things out. I went for the mini pill, which is the one memento. I need to make sure I say this right. Guessed right. How do you even say that word? I want her to say it for me. How do we get her to say it for me? Oh, I don't know. Progesterone. Is that progesterone? Progesterone, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, so I don't think that necessarily helps with ADHD symptoms and balancing out hormones. But that's okay. the main thing for me was calming down my periods, which it has done immensely. In fact, I don't even think I've had one for a while. So it's completely calmed them down, and taken away that pain that I was in. That was just, nah. Like, it took me a little while to adjust to being back on the pill, but after a sort of, I would say 3 months, it just felt like normal. So yeah, I think that's really like all the information I have from my experience of the Depo injection. I just think, like, it's not me saying like you shouldn't have it. I just think like it's good to get people's experiences and do research and stuff before allowing it to be in your body, because it really does change things. You know, I've seen some people online who have been fine with it, and that's great, but there's still going to be some complications and stuff. Like, there could still be complications in regards to the bone density thing in the long run. I still think that's something that people should be aware of when they take it, because my friend wasn't aware of it and has been on it for years, and it has created a lot of pains for her. So that is added onto the other things. But if she'd have known this information, she probably wouldn't have been on it, or at least been on it for as long as she has been. So yeah, anyway, I think that's how I'm going to leave it today. I don't want to run on too long, but I just thought it was a good thing to talk about. Yeah, all right, I'm going to go now. Goodbye.